Steelers fans, I believe Eric Bieniemy, the Commanders' offensive coordinator right now, is the perfect fit to be the next offensive coordinator right here in the Steel City. I'm going to let you know why here on today's edition of Steelers Talk. Also, we have two new potential Kenny Pickett replacements to add to the list. And then finally, we're going to be talking about George Pickens and his comments clapping back against fan and media scrutiny after giving kind of abysmal effort, if we're being honest, last week against the Indianapolis Colts. So before we get into today's news and rumors, do me a favor, click that subscribe button because this is going to be a massive offseason for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And every time we have breaking news, if they fire Tomlin, when they hire a new offensive coordinator, if they replace Kenny Pickett and make a big trade for a quarterback, we're going to have you covered with breaking news coverage every single time the Steelers make a big move. We're also going to be going in depth with NFL free agency and the 2024 NFL draft, letting you know which players the Steelers are targeting and which play and what the team needs are, all these different things. We also have 2 weekly live shows, a watch party for every single Steelers game, and then also a weekly live show. And oh yeah, it's all 100% free. We just passed over 40,000 subscribers right here on Steelers Talk. Go ahead right now, join the fastest growing Steelers community here on YouTube by clicking that subscribe button right now. So now let's talk about Eric Bieniemy, because I believe that the next offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be Eric Bieniemy, and I think that this is a match made in heaven here for the black and gold. Now, why do I think EB is the next OC here in Pittsburgh? Well, there's a couple of different reasons why. First of all, he's a great offensive mind with a really modern offense. He runs that Andy Reid style of offense that you see with the Kansas City Chiefs. Lots of shotgun, lots of motion, lots of very creative concepts that we need here in Pittsburgh. But also with that new approach to the offense, from a schematic standpoint, he still has that old school, tough-nosed approach to coaching that Mike Tomlin really appreciates. He's also close to Tomlin on a personal level. And also, I think that it's likely that he will be available to grab here because I don't think Washington is going to retain him. Ron Rivera is likely to get fired. And I think that they'd be trying him out as their interim head coach if they thought he was a legitimate possibility for the future. And then Kansas City has Matt Nagy in his former position there as the OC there with the Chiefs. So I don't think Bieniemy, a return to Kansas City, is in the cards either. So right now, as I sit here today, I'm about 93% sure that Eric Bieniemy is going to be the next offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, that might sound too good to be true, and I keep telling myself in my brain that getting a guy like Eric Bieniemy to be an offensive coordinator here, that's just too good to be true. But I actually think that the stars are aligning here, and I actually think Mike Tomlin, if he's still the head coach, is going to get this done. Another option that's been floated out there in the ether by some former Steelers players, actually, is Greg Roman, former offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, he's one of the best run game designers in the National Football League, especially when it comes to the quarterback run game. And really the only way that I could see Greg Roman getting the nod over an Eric Bieniemy here is if they go out and trade for Justin Fields. Can you imagine Justin Fields' rushing skill set? Absolutely elite. He was the most valuable rusher in the National Football League among any player, including running backs in 2022. You put him in a Greg Roman-designed run scheme. I mean, goodness gracious, that could be absolutely electric here in Pittsburgh. But honestly, I really think that Eric Bieniemy is the guy. He's close with Tomlin. He's going to be available. He's got a great modern offense that I think Tomlin trusts moving forward here in Pittsburgh. And I think that it would just be an absolute perfect fit to bring in Eric Bieniemy. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Pick an offensive coordinator for the future. Type EB if you want Eric Bieniemy, or if you'd rather pair up Justin Fields with Greg Roman, type GR down there in the comments section. This is also going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So let's say the Steelers bring in Eric Bieniemy to be their next offensive coordinator. In that event, if they want to keep Kenny Pickett on the roster and they don't want to straight up replace him and they want to give him a shot in EB's offense, I think bringing in a veteran like Jacoby Brissett, who's currently with Bieniemy with the Washington Commanders right now, would be a great option to bring in some competition and really force Kenny to prove himself and earn the starting job, heading into the 2024 season because, honestly, I just don't think you can just give Kenny the job outright heading into next year. So Jacoby Brissett, he got his really first significant action last week against the Los Angeles Rams in the fourth quarter. The Commanders were down 21 points. He comes in, the defense knows he has to throw the football, and he absolutely lights it up. I thought it was a perfect performance, 8 of 10. The 2 incompletions weren't really his fault. It was either on the receiver or it was on the scheme. And then also 124 yards. That was more than the starting quarterback, Sam Howell, had on the day. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He put them in a position to win that ball game despite only being down 21 when he had his first snap and only having 10 pass attempts. So Jacoby Brissett, obviously, very comfortable. And Eric Bieniemy's scheme, he can operate it well. And remember, Washington's offensive line is arguably the worst in the National Football League. So this is somebody that can operate in the system even without the most ideal circumstances along the offensive line. I think he's very comfortable in the scheme. He'd also be very affordable because I don't think anybody sees Jacoby Brissett as a bona fide franchise guy. He's more of a bridge guy. He's more of a competent backup, capable starter kind of guy. And I definitely think that he fits in well with what the Steelers are going to be looking for this offseason. It also gives Pickett an opportunity to prove himself in a new offense. For all those people out there in Steelers Nation saying that Kenny Pickett needs a chance to prove himself with a new offensive coordinator next year, I get you. I'm right there with you, but I also want to bring in somebody like a Jacoby Brissett because if it's really on Kenny Pickett and he's not going to be able to work in another offensive coordinator scheme, I want a nice contingency plan here in Jacoby Brissett, and I think he provides that for you, and he kind of proved that last year when he was the starter for the Cleveland Browns when Deshaun Watson, that scumbag, was serving his suspension. So you got Jacoby Brissett last year, 64.0 completion percentage. He had 163 yards per game, not super high, right? They really prioritized the run game there in Cleveland, but he had 12 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. That's a good ratio. And then his grade was the 6th highest in the National Football League just last season, and he actually played better than Deshaun Watson when he eventually came back there to finish out the 2022 campaign. So I really like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's a very capable starter in this league, and I think that the Steelers would be lucky to grab him if they're not ready to get rid of Kenny Pickett. Now, coming up here, I got another potential quarterback target for the Pittsburgh Steelers that's been thrown out there by a Steelers reporter. But before I do that, I want to talk about today's sponsor at Game Time. And Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. It's the only ticketing app that I have on my phone. I used to be somebody that would kind of shop around, look at a bunch of different ticketing apps, trying to find the best price. With Game Time, you don't have to worry about that because they have the lowest price guaranteed. And then also, they have flash deals right before game time, so you get even better deals right before game time. So if you're someone like me, likes to get last-minute tickets, Game Time is going to be perfect for you. It's the fastest-growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are also sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through that pesky email to get your tickets. Snag those tickets without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat. One word, all caps. It's right down there below for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat. One word, all caps for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So this one kind of boils my blood, man. I'm not going to lie. The Athletic Steelers writer, Mark Caboli, suggests on his Twitter that he would be in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers bringing in Baker Mayfield to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers next season. This is the photo that Caboli put on his Twitter. Of course, it's Baker Mayfield kind of photoshopped into a Steelers uniform. And I got to tell you, man, I'm not too sure about this. Now, I will say Baker's had a pretty decent year. All right, 63.5 completion percentage. He's got a pretty decent yards per game figure as well. And then he's actually getting the ball in the end zone. He's been one of the more efficient red zone quarterbacks in the league this year. Really good touchdown to interception ratio there from 24 to 8. And if you compare his numbers to Kenny Pickett, right? It's just not even a competition here, right? He's got better accuracy. He's getting the ball down the field more efficiently. He's got way more touchdowns, literally 4 times as many passing touchdowns as Kenny Pickett has this year. And then also, yes, he does have double the amount of interceptions, but Kenny Pickett has a really low number there. Mayfield has actually done a pretty darn good job at protecting the football this year, something that he struggled with in the past, but something that's really worked out for him. And as a result, you look at that points above replacement difference there. Mayfield is a pretty darn valuable quarterback worth over 60 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense this year, whereas Kenny Pickett is only worth about 4 points. All right, so you see the difference there. I do think Mayfield is the better quarterback here, but just as a Steelers fan, there is no way I am bringing in Baker Mayfield to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, there's other quarterbacks out there that are better than Kenny Pickett. If you want to replace Kenny, go ahead and do it. Don't bring in this douchebag that we've all hated for years when he was with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I hate this guy, man. I do not want to see him in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform ever. All right, so Omar Khan, if you're listening to me right now, please do not go get Baker Mayfield for the love of God. All right, let me know down there in the comments section. Would you sign Baker Mayfield from an enemy to a friend here in Pittsburgh? Type S if you would sign him, or type P if you're going to pass on him. Let me know down there in the comments section. For me, I'm putting a bunch of P's down there in the comments section. All right, now let's shift to George Pickens, who's really been a hot topic here in Steelers Nation this week, where there's been a lot of backlash in terms of his effort, especially in terms of run blocking last week against the Indianapolis Colts. And yesterday in his media session, he kind of clapped back at the media, saying that nobody in the media knows football and that none of them understand why he did what he did. So this was his explanation. This is what he had to say. I was just trying to prevent the Tank Dell situation, meaning Tank Dell got injured. He didn't want to break his leg. The same thing that happened to him. I ain't want to get an injury. When you stay on the block too long, you can get ran up on very easily. All the people that's questioning my effort, they don't play football. They do what y'all, talking about in the media, do. All that people that got opinions, they're media, surface guys. None of them play football. I just feel like the reason I would be like you're saying would be still fighting it. A lot of guys that's not playing the ball, not playing the game of football, that's just media guys having an opinion. But here's the thing, George. I mean, a lot of the people in, especially NFL media, they're former NFL players. They have been in these locker rooms. They know what's expected from an effort perspective in an NFL locker room, and they're still blasting you. All right, so I don't want to hear that this is only from media personalities like myself that have never played in the NFL and don't play football. All right, that's not exclusively where this is coming from. This is coming from former players, all right, guys like Shannon Sharp. All right, a bunch of other players have spoken out about it too. This is a bad look for George, and he needs to grow up, man. He needs to become a we guy and not a me guy, all right? That's what Mike Tomlin wants. He wants we guys, team players. And right now, George Pickens is a me guy. He is kind of a selfish individual, if I'm being completely honest with you, only worrying about his own health and injury status. I mean, yeah, you don't want to get injured, all right? And I'm not saying that George Pickens has to go to great lengths with his body to play well for this football team, but can you at least block when your assignment is to block on a run scheme coming to your side? I mean, and the fact that George didn't fess up to it, say, that was my bad, I need to do a better job, is seriously concerning to me, and it tells me that he's got other priorities in mind here that does not include the Pittsburgh Steelers organization as a whole. So let me know down there in the comments section. Predict it for me. Will the Steelers trade George Pickens this offseason? They're starting to get some whispers out there that they might consider it. Type T if you want to trade him, or type K if you think the Steelers will keep him for 2024. So our final topic today, we'll be talking about culture. All right, we'll be talking about Mike Tomlin's culture here in Pittsburgh. And there's definitely some interesting quotes that I want to share from you. The first one is from T.J. Watt, and this was recounted from Rich Eisen, all right, who is definitely not popular with Steelers fans right now, but he was calling the game against the Colts last week on NFL Network, and he talked with T.J. Watt pregame, and he said some pretty interesting things about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. This is what Rich Eisen had to say about what T.J. Watt told him in their pregame meeting. He, meaning Tomlin, is basically going into these meetings and being a dynamic leader and trying to inspire, to the point where T.J. Watt said it was wild. He used that phrase. It was wild to him that some of the players, upon hearing that message, don't respond in a way on a field or on a practice field. He used that word. He said it was wild that some of them don't want to practice, is what he said, or want to practice in a way that everyone is supposed to practice. He, meaning Watt, said that this past week, everyone did do that, and then you saw the result. TJ Watt also said that the younger generation takes criticism personally. He didn't call it a problem. I just inferred that it was. So what this sounds like to me is that Tomlin is a great leader. He's an inspirational guy. It has guys like TJ Watt who might be belong to more of the old school approach to really get inspired and really get things going from a motivation standpoint. But it's not working with the younger generation who is used to a softer touch. This is why guys like Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur and Zach Taylor are having success in the National Football League right now, because they're not old school guys that get in guys' faces and yell at them and do all these different things. And I just don't think this younger generation, especially with emotionally fragile individuals like George Pickens, if you're getting in his face and criticizing him, he's gonna resent you for that, right? So I just think that there's a big time cultural and generational divide here. And you can look at this two ways. You can say the younger players need to man up, all right, take some criticism, all right, and be a man here. Or you could say Coach Tomlin needs to adjust with the times and kind of adopt a softer approach. Now, the big question when it comes to this is the culture set by the players or the head coach, all right? I think that there's an argument for both, but Jeff Saturday from ESPN, former Indianapolis Colt great center, had this to say about setting culture in an NFL locker room. I played for Tony Dungy, who's in the Hall of Fame. I played for Jim Mora. Coaches do not set culture. The idea, they set a structure in place for coaches, for the system, for the schemes, for all those things. Your culture is created in your locker room. He continues to say here, coach ain't buckling it up. He ain't walking between the white lines. He's trying to give you the best plays, but execution and culture is designed by players. Now, my take on this is that a coach definitely sets the foundation for a positive culture to kind of flourish within the players, but I think that Saturday's right. Like, you can only coach to a certain degree. At some point, the locker room needs to take advantage. The leaders in the locker room need to get some of these guys whipped into shape. And at the end of the day, it is driven by the locker room. It's driven by both. I don't think it's an either-or question here. But for me personally, I think that the head coach needs to set the foundation. I think Mike Tomlin, given his long history of success in this league, has done that. But I think potentially over the last couple of years, the locker room itself has gotten a bit softer. And, they need to make a big change here if they want to make stuff happen positively moving forward. So who's to blame? Let me know down there in the comment section. Who do you blame more? Do you blame Mike Tomlin for the culture more? Type MT. Or do you blame the players and the locker room more, the leaders in this locker room more? Type P if you blame the players for the current cultural issues here in Pittsburgh. That'll be it for today's show. I know it was a little bit of a longer one today, Steelers Nation. Thank you guys so much for all of your support and making it to the end of today's show. Make sure you click that subscribe button for more Steelers news and rumors coverage all throughout the 2023 season and even going into the 2024 offseason.